My real art, I hope, is songwriting. That's like what I really want to be remembered for. But I think it's a beautiful like privilege that the way that I look and the person that I am can also be art. I grew up in like the suburbs of Chicago. For me, you know, it was always what my look is always such an important part. My brothers were always so supportive of whatever I wanted to do when I was younger. Everyone knew that I was really feminine and no one was upset about it. Obsessed with The Little Mermaid and Annie and all these things, but also obsessed with Guns N' Roses and AC/DC, which I think it's very obvious what shaped me. I'm in a rock band and I'm one of the most feminine men I've ever met. I really have the coolest family ever. My mom and I got tattoos together when I turned 18. My sister-in-law, her cut-off jean shorts were shorter than her hair. At like 8 years old, I was like, oh, that's good. She was a huge influence on my entire life. This is tattoos for her. She actually passed away last year. I started designing jewelry almost as an accident. That's what my mom does. So whenever I needed a day job, I would just go to a jewelry store. I first started singing when I was young, and then when I got to arts high school, I started writing songs. I went to music school in Boston, Berklee College of Music, where I majored in songwriting. The guys in the band we met in college, and then me and Cole, the bass player, moved to New York at the same time. Whether we're delusional or not, there's never been a doubt that the band would work. New York was very inspiring in the sense that, like, you know, I had 7 jobs, whether it was at jewelry stores or salons or collecting cans or whatever it was. It was right when this sort of like hipster band thing movement really sort of took over, where everything was very serious and sad. And so we're like, well, we'll start something fun. We don't need to be so fucking serious. Even when I am on stage and I look like this, it still is threatening to a lot of people, because I think they can sense that it isn't a costume. And I am naturally very feminine. Right. And most people have gender issues. And then a friend pointed out, well, actually, it's your lack of gender issue. It's you don't care. People get the sense of femininity and the lines being blurred, no matter what I wear. So I might as well wear exactly what I want to wear. What I wear on stage and what I wear like to go out is definitely the exact same thing. My color this year is burgundy. I do a color a year just because I think it's the most obnoxious thing anyone could ever do. Another pair of tights that we just had made. I think camouflage is, you know, obviously one of the most iconic prints possible. This heart is from our collection, which is one of my favorites. Because the first Fetty thing we ever did was the gun and the heart has the hole in it, and that's kind of like our most famous piece. We've sold like over 400,000 pieces of that. I added the current red blood splatters, if you will, and I kind of love them because they're kind of like my signature glitter boot, but like the Mad Max version. Flannel's very iconic, very masculine, or very lesbian, depending on what part of the country you're in. It's one of my favorite things I think I've ever had. I also obsessed with just the inside of it. It's so beautiful because the snake skin is like tan, and then the burgundy leather is still like burgundy. Well, of course the t-shirt's covered in multiple pictures of my own face. Because I feel like if I'm not confident enough to wear my own face, how am I going to expect other people to? And I just couldn't go with the blue in my hair, so I decided to put them on these boots. This is the original grommeted motorcycle jacket. Instead of the studs, it has the grommets, which so gives the same vibe as like the punk rock stud, but it's a female instead of a male, if you will. It's my sort of folk singer, Native American fringe look. This is a bangle that I got in Japan. It's one of the only things I've ever spent too much money on. Everything else we find a way to make ourselves, so it's cheaper. And these are a different pair of the same gold glitter boot that Stuart Weitzman made for me. I have 3 of the same exact gold boot. People say, well, why do you have to wear a heel? Because I feel like shit if I don't. I don't know why. I'm not saying it's normal or healthy. The silhouette of my heel in a shadow shooting across the sidewalk makes me feel fucking awesome. We got all these big fans very quickly, whether it was Tony Visconti, whether it was, you know, Perez Hilton or Kate Moss, or then obviously Lady Gaga. She was a fan of ours when she was, you know, a 19-year-old brunette girl, and then we asked her to open for us a couple times, and then we hear, you know, Just Dance on the radio, and everything changes. Because we were her favorite band, you know, she asked us to tour the whole world with us, and playing those shows to those fans is obviously life-changing. And kind of, for us, the biggest thing of traveling, it wasn't being in clubs. And we got like, rock and roll happened. It was awesome. We spent so long being like, we're gonna bring rock and roll back. And that's like the dumbest thing I ever said in my life, I realize now, because it already happened. So it's about how do we bring it forward. And I think that that's what traveling taught us more than anything. We feel like it's kind of the second era of SPW, is we're in right now. We love to perform. I love to shock people. I love to cause a scene, blah, blah, blah. But I think favorite thing to do is to write songs. We spent every penny we had to move in here. LA is very inexpensive, and so we can afford to literally do nothing but write music all day long, which in New York is not possible. Even for a band like us, that's traveled the whole world. I think whether it's your look or whether it's your music or whatever it is, that confidence, people really respond to it, whether they respond negatively or positively. I would rather people love or hate something. The worst thing that I could be is average.